Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your home for all things Liverpool. Today, we're diving into a storm of drama and emotion at Anfield. From Arne Slot's revealing post-match comments and worrying injury updates, to Mo Salah's powerful response to Chelsea fans and Bayern's cheeky transfer dig. Stick around till the end. We'll break down how the 150-minute regret and Chelsea's new wonderkid are adding to Liverpool's growing concerns. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Arne Slot talks needed as post-match scenes hint at cruel new Liverpool injury blow. The Paul Gorst verdict from Stamford Bridge as Liverpool for the second week running. Lose 2-1 late on away in the Premier League after Estevao scores Chelsea's winner. Is this the day when a blip turned to a crisis for this new-look Liverpool? Whatever Arne Slot's feeling on that particular debate, he will now have 2 weeks to stew on it as his side lost their third successive game to bring the curtain down on the week from hell for the Reds boss. Having become masters of late goal drama in the early weeks of the campaign, the champions have been administered copious amounts of their own medicine in the last 2 league games, as they once more conceded in stoppage time to lose 2-1. This time it was Chelsea substitute Estevao picking up where Eddie Nketiah left off at Crystal Palace last week, sliding in the 95th minute to secure a huge victory for Enzo Maresca, whose riotous celebration saw him pick up the most joyous yellow card of his career to be sent off by referee Anthony Taylor. It will have mattered little to him as Chelsea dagger echoed around Stamford Bridge, and Slot must now face up to some massive questions during this break. Namely, how does he inject some fluency into his team on the other side of the international fixtures? With Manchester United up next at Anfield, it is the ideal time to show everyone exactly why they are the champions of this division. Before then, though, having dropped to second after Arsenal's 2-0 win over West Ham United earlier in the day, Slot will find the external criticism will likely be fierce. Internally, he must come up with a solution to get his team purring once more. They are yet to turn in a complete performance across any of their 10 games in all competitions, and that is a huge concern. Chelsea had their lead after 14 minutes when the one-man midfield, that is Moises Caicedo, smashed past Georgi Mamardashvili on his Premier League debut. There was little the Georgia international could do about it, and as Alisson Becker recovers from his now annual muscle injury, Mamardashvili will get the time to build his relationship with his back four. In many ways, though, that is the issue at Liverpool at the moment. Too many players are still trying to work out the patterns and the movements of each other. As this team continues to emerge from a big spending summer, the burgeoning partnerships all over the pitch are still in their infancy, and the Reds, having spent so much money in the window, don't have the luxury of time nor the leeway to label themselves as a team in transition. Alexander Isak and Mohamed Salah will take time to strike up their own understanding, but the pair did combine late in the first half when a sumptuous outside of the foot cross from the Egyptian was nodded over by the 125th striker who, with more minutes under his belt, might have threatened Robert Sanchez more. Milos Kerkez and Cody Gakpo on the left side are also still adjusting to each other's game, undoubtedly. Neither have started the season off in the sort of form they showed last time out, and 21-year-old Kerkez is still getting to grips with the demands at a club the size of Liverpool. Slot went back to basics by naming Florian Wirtz on the bench and selected the tried-and-trusted midfield of Dominik Szoboszlai, Alexis Mac Allister, and Ryan Gravenberch, but none were able to stamp their authority and class on proceedings in the first half. Wirtz was introduced at half-time for Connor Bradley, who was on a booking, and Szoboszlai shifted to right-back once more. The Reds were improved after the break, and full credit to Slot, whose substitutions of Wirtz, Curtis Jones, and Andy Robertson injected more urgency into proceedings. Mohamed Salah's response to Chelsea supporters spoke volumes as Liverpool concern grows. Mark Jones on the whistle talking point concerns Mohamed Salah after Liverpool lost 2-1 at Chelsea, courtesy of an injury-time strike from Estevao. If Mo Salah has a curious relationship with Chelsea, it is pretty clear what their fans think of him. Whenever he faces his former club at Stamford Bridge, Liverpool's Egyptian, who memorably refused to celebrate the first time he scored against them in a red shirt back in 2017, is barracked by the home fans from start to finish. Perhaps there is a tinge of jealousy in the cries of those in blue, given what Salah has gone on to achieve in a red shirt after offering nothing notable for the West Londoners. Liverpool's talisman knows he's not at his best right now, and a fully firing Salah would surely have taken at least one of the chances that came his way in the second period, the first from the brilliant, balletic Florian Wirtz pass. There are quite a few things wrong with the Reds at the moment. The new signings haven't gelled. There can be an ease at which they can be got at through midfield, and Arne Slot is having to change his right-back's game by game, often more than once. But some of those sins would have been covered up if only Salah could find his shooting boots. His displays are holding a huge cause for concern in what is fast becoming a troubling season. Arne Slot makes Mohamed Salah and Alexander Isak connection. Admission after Liverpool. Loss: Alexander Isak and Mohamed Salah both missed. Chances as Liverpool suffered a late 2-1. Defeat at Chelsea to miss the chance to go back top of the Premier League, Arne Slot says. Alexander Isak and Mohamed Salah will develop a partnership. At Liverpool, the more time they spend together on the pitch. Isak, who joined for 120 finers on transfer deadline day, was making just his second Premier League start for the Reds since his British record switch from Newcastle United as the champions fell to a 2-1 defeat at Chelsea on Saturday. After Moises Caicedo had opened the scoring in the first half, Cody Gakpo equalized with his second goal of the campaign before substitute Estevao won it for the Londoners in the 95th minute as Liverpool suffered their third successive defeat in a week. Salah and Isak struggled to build up an understanding, but the latter came close toward the end of the first half from an excellent cross by the Egyptian. And Slot says the high-profile frontmen will establish a rapport the longer they play in the same team. The more they play together, the more they will connect, the Reds boss said. In the second half, we were able to get our attacking players in much more promising positions than the first half. For me, it wasn't a disconnect or time needed for the forwards to do better. I think what we had to do better in the build-up. Last season, we lost against Chelsea as well. Stamford Bridge is always difficult. We were very close to getting a result. Small margins. As I said at Galatasaray, we had a 1v1, then they get a penalty. We concede an extra time against Crystal Palace. And then today, they score a goal that could go at either end. After we scored 1-1, it went our way, and I think I was waiting for us to score the second. Decision-making could have been better. The last 10-15 minutes was end-to-end. We arrived in their 18-yard box with Andy Robertson. We couldn't control the ball, but again, it's fine margins like it's been for as long as I've been here. Last week, same as this week, 2 difficult away games. The fine margins haven't been in our favor. Slot added, "It's another disappointing loss, that's clear. Another game similar to the Palace game, although the playing style of both teams was completely different. In the first half, we played not our best football, but we were able to create 3 big chances. They only had one and they scored it, which was completely different to the Palace game where they created a lot of chances in the first half. The second half, like against Palace, I liked. We created more than enough chances to score more than 1 goal last week and today, and when we did, there was a period of the game where I thought we were going to win it. Bayern Munich chief aims new dig at Liverpool after missing out on Florian Wirtz. Transfer Bayern Munich was beaten to the signing of Florian Wirtz during the summer, and the German club's chiefs have aimed a number of digs at the Reds ever since Bayern Munich chief executive Jan-Christian Driesen has taken a thinly veiled swipe at Liverpool following the German club's failure to secure Florian Wirtz's signature ahead of the Premier League champions this summer. The Bundesliga giants had been widely tipped to land the German international services, yet the Reds managed to outmaneuver both them and rivals Manchester City, with Arne Slot's compelling vision ultimately convincing the 22-year-old to depart his homeland for Merseyside. Liverpool shattered its transfer record to capture Wirtz at the conclusion of June, securing the creative forward from Bayer Leverkusen in a package potentially reaching a then British record $156 million, 116 million. Bayern were left frustrated after losing out on the playmaker and have launched several barbs at both player and club in the months since missing out on Wirtz's services. Driesen appears to have taken another veiled shot whilst insisting Bayern can afford any transfer and suggesting such expenditure contradicts the club's DNA. also pointedly referenced the Reds and their financial muscle when lamenting the superior revenue available to Premier League clubs through the English top flight's broadcasting arrangements. "We can afford any transfer we want," he told Welt am Sonntag, as quoted by Bild. "We have an excellent capital ratio. FC Bayern is doing very well. But we want to be able to pay a player without having to run to the bank. That's not FC Bayern's DNA. The bottom team in the English league at 125 meters has 60 or more in media revenue than us. Liverpool has 200 millers, while FC Barcelona and Real Madrid each have $160 million. Wirtz has had a quiet start to his Liverpool career, failing to score or assist in the Premier League during the first 2 months of the season, attracting criticism both in England and Germany. He was dropped by Slot for the Reds' trip to Chelsea on Saturday, although he was called upon at halftime at Stamford Bridge, with his side on their way to a third consecutive defeat in all competitions. Wirtz will hope to rediscover some form with Germany over the forthcoming international break. Liverpool gloom deepens as 115-meter one that got away, and Chelsea's new wonderkid have laugh Chelsea. Owen Liverpool, Brazilian wonderkid. Estevao scored a 96th-minute winner to hand Enzo Maresca's men victory, as Arne Slot's champions fell to a second straight. Premier League defeat in London and a third in all. Competitions Liverpool's expensively assembled new squad were burned by the 115-meters, man that got away, and Chelsea's new wonderkid, to slip to a third defeat in a row. Moises Caicedo, who joined the Blues over the Reds in the summer of 2023, gave his side the lead with a superb long-range strike that debutant goalkeeper Georgi Mamardashvili had no chance with. But after Arne Slot changed things around, including bringing on Florian Wirtz at halftime, Cody Gakpo's close-range strike looked to have got his side a point. However, Willian Estevao's stoppage-time strike would send Stamford Bridge crazy and deepen the sense of gloom around the champions. The 18-year-old Estevao, who linked up with the Blues in the summer a year after joining from Palmeiras, was on hand to turn home. Marc Cucurella's cross in the 6th minute of added time. Enzo Maresca sprang a tactical surprise of his own from the off by starting Malo Gusto in the center of midfield and captain Reece James at right back. A switch which allowed the young Frenchman to use his pace in the center where Liverpool have looked leggy lately. And while the Reds did start solidly enough, Gusto was to have a role in Chelsea's glorious opening gambit 14 minutes in. The newly liberated 22-year-old emerged into midfield space and found Caicedo, who eased past Alexis McAllister and drove on unconcerned by any other red shirts before firing a stunning shot into Mamardashvili's top left corner. Liverpool did reply quickly, though, and Gakpo's cutback was sent goalwards by Dominic Szoboszlai, but blocked well by Benoit Badiashile. Any pressure exerted by Liverpool could quickly be turned against them, though, and there was a sense of brittleness about the defense as Ibrahima Konate had to be alert to turn a Pedro Neto cross behind after he'd beaten Kerkez. Chelsea wanted a penalty. The furious eventually yellow-carded Maresca most of all. When Alejandro Garnacho went down under a faint challenge from Szoboszlai, and the anger was still there when Alexander Isak headed over Salah's cross at the other end. Despite that chance, it was clear that Liverpool needed inspiration, and Slot turned to Wirtz to provide it at halftime, bringing him on for the booked Bradley. The German almost provided it instantly, with his impudent, almost balletic pass from a fast Gakpo break finding Salah, but he prodded wide. The Egyptian, so often Liverpool's inspiration, would soon be sent scurrying away down the right again, but after cutting inside, he shot way over. Liverpool looked a lot more put together now, and the introductions of Andy Robertson and Curtis Jones helped exert more control that would eventually lead to the equalizer. Szoboszlai, now at right back, got down the flank, and his center was touched on by Isak into the path of Gakpo, who blasted high into the net. The pace was frenetic now, and Salah blazed over when he should have done better as Chelsea, who lost both starting center-backs Badiashile and Josh Archiampong to injury, struggled to contain the Reds.